Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's show, the Beautifully Bruised and the CPS show. I am your host, Latrika Jones. Thank you so much for tuning in today to I see as our Freedom Friday. Okay, we made it through another week, and just it's time to just reflect and maybe reset for the upcoming weeks to come. I won't be before you long. I just want to share some information with you that can hopefully inspire you and encourage you in some kind of shape, form, or fashion. And before I do the show, I am totally sold out to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without him, I wouldn't be in front of you today. I was once a victim to CPS. I know what it's like when they take your children in to their system that is broken, that is corrupt, that needs to be rebuilt, revamped, and redone from the top to the bottom. So it's a very, very, very scary feeling to know your children or your child or whatever the situation may be that is lost in this system. And it is a system that's not easy to get out of. So again, I have a special heart and compassion for parents, grandparents, family members, uncles, aunts, whomever you may be. If you have a child or a relative, if it's not your very own child that's lost in this system. So my heart goes out to you. I know it's not an easy task. In the world we're living in today, it seems like things are not getting any better, right? So it's even more concerning with the brokenness of the world that we're living in today. So again, I just want to come on here and try to shed some type of light. Like I said, I have once been in your seat. I have also been in those court hearing seats. I've also been into those services locations, to those drug tests and all the different things that your caseworker seems to have you go through. And that's why I say I do know firsthand that it's not an easy task. Unfortunately, it's so difficult. I've read stories where some parents have just decided to give up altogether. So anything that I can do to help you just to stay in the race, to help you to not throw in the towel, to help you not put a period where there should be a comma. Because why? God is not done writing your story. I don't care how bad it looks. I don't care how it feels or how it appeared to be, that he's not done writing your story. And just trust me, God turned my story around. I won't say the nick of time, because I went through my CPS case over a year or so. And actually I've had different investigations. And a lot of times, as I brought before on the show, sometimes it could be out of ill will. Someone might be jealous. Somebody might be doing it as a spite, or ex, someone who don't like you, whomever that may be. They use CPS as a weapon to go against you. And sadly, it's something that it really affects the children. The children are the ones that's placed in these systems, right? And so it's what an awful, evil tactic that someone would use to try to get back at you. So I say that to say this: CPS is not always necessary. Okay, some people do use it as a weapon to try to hurt you, but don't get me wrong. They're not. There are some cases where CPS needs to be involved. And speaking of that, I want to shed some light on some news that I received as recent as last night. I saw a news story that basically was sharing that a beautiful little girl, was killed due to the lack of someone, not even a member, a family member. It was a family friend that was over to the home, and for some odd reason, he felt the need to leave a Mac 10 gun on top of a PlayStation. And again, I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. From what I heard, it seemed that it was a Mac 10. Either way it go, it was a deadly weapon that he left in a unlocked, secure area. And we have a beautiful 5-6-year-old little girl who was able to get in reach of that weapon, of that gun, and she's no longer here. And obviously, the first thing that came to mind for me was, it's so sad to hear such a terrible, unnecessary tragedy, an unnecessary death. Parents are not supposed to bury their children, right? That's not how this is. God is. I don't believe that. That's not. We gave birth to bury our kids. It's normally the other way around, where our kids will have to, when God call us home, prepare for our home going. But in this situation, in this particular story, this beautiful little 5 or 6-year-old little girl, had a weapon on a PlayStation. And she obviously had access to the gun. And again, she's no longer here because of that. One of the first questions that come to mind for me was, why wasn't this family under investigation? To me, these are the kind of stories where I can see why CPS would immediately take action and investigate these particular families that are negligently leaving weapons out on a PlayStation, near toys, near games and devices where little 5 and 6 year old kids can have access to. Now, again, when I hear this story, I do believe that's where a CPS needs to be involved. But sadly to say, that's not always the case. Normally, the stories that we hear from time to time is that families that actually love their children, that is not leaving guns and in a way where they can have access to the guns, where they can kill themselves from the guns, or however they die from the guns. These are parents that are going through so much. These are parents that literally love their kids. These are parents that are doing the work. These are parents that's fighting for their children. And sadly, it ended up being that these are the parents that end up losing their children to CPS. And not only that, being adopted out into a foster care system that's broken and that lacks integrity. So with that being said, my personal experience of CPS, which was years ago, thank God, was that it's tied to money, power, and politics. I noticed from witnessing in those court hearings, I never knew why God told me, I'm going to use your story one day, because I know knowledge is power. And I'm somebody that's seen something so broken, a system that's attached to money, power, and politics. And they're literally not taking in these hearts and souls of these innocent children that's being pulled out of their households and placed in God's knows where. Because a lot of people, statistics show that normally children that are living in the foster care system is normally more unsafe versus being in their home, where being able to provide the necessary resources and access to these parents to help make their lives better. Life happens to the best of us. Life be lifing, okay? And sometimes there is nothing at all that you can do once life starts lifing, to try to adjust, adapt, and just do the best you can with what you have. So with that being said, I just wanted to mention that story, because to me, they're really resonating in my heart. I'm hearing all these stories on a regular basis of families that are fighting to get their children back, never had guns at their access where they can play with the guns, but they're taken in this vicious system. They're doing all the services. They're letting them know, hey, I even know someone that is not their biological child, but they are a family member and they want the kid, and they're still not releasing the child to them. And that shows me that this math is not adding up. These equations are not adding up. So you mean to tell me you have families that have guns on a PlayStation, that they are not being investigated by CPS, where these guns are actually killing these kids, and y'all are not investigating these families, but you have families that have never had these kind of stories, and they're fighting to the best of their abilities, and they're not able to get their kids back. They're adopted out. Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. That tells you right there that there is something seriously wrong with this system. Okay. With that being said, I want to say this. Since we're going into this weekend, we're all work in progress, right? What is something that you can do, whether you're a parent or family member that may be dealing with CPS right now, or someone that is? What is something firsthand that you can do that can help you help that child that's in the CPS custody, or that family member that's dealing with CPS? What is one thing that you are willing to do to try to make a difference for the better? It can be something as simple as changing up your household setup. If CPS come over to the homes, they say they want to make sure the house is clean, of course, right? That it's a livable headquarters for you and your children to reside in. Maybe it's something just, hey, I'm just going to wash up all the clothes this weekend. I'm just going to, mop the floor. I'm just going to make sure whatever it takes to make this process easier. whether it's your house or not, what can you do to help contribute to make uh, this situation better? Whether it's a CPS case or it's just something for yourself, right? What can you do to work on you to help make you better? And I'm sure, I know myself, I have a list of different things I plan to do today and this weekend. What one I'm going to pick something that I know that will help make me better, make my household run smoother, that can help my child. It even resonated on me just watching the story this weekend with this child being murdered because they had access to a deadly weapon. I just thank God for integrity. And I say that to say this: what if I didn't care to get my child out of this system? Because CPS workers did tell me, won't you go on with your life? Isn't there something else you want to do with your life? That's what my caseworker told me. And I easily responded back and said, yes, there is something I want to do with my life. It's get my son out of this vicious system back home where he belongs. That is number one priority that I'm going to do in my life. And I did it. What if I would have listened to the manipulation? What if I would have been deceived by what she said? My child could have been another statistic in this broken, corrupt system. Okay. God gave us those children for a reason. You have parents that want kids, and may be going through a transition or may have to be delayed to have kids. And when they have their children, they're going to love them. Just like God have allowed us to have them so we can love ours. We don't give up on our kids. That's something I will tell you. My mom always raised me. She said, Trika, you don't give up on your kids. I don't care how they act and what's going on. I see my mom walk my brother's sack lunch to him literally as her body was transitioning weeks before her passing. That's her dedication, her drive she had for her children. And that's the same dedication that we should have for our children and that we shouldn't take for granted. Okay. So I say that to say this. I seriously want you to think on one thing that you can do individually that can help you as a whole, that can maybe help your household run smoother, that can help someone's dealing with CPS or a child that may be in the system. Maybe you can call an attorneys. If you can't get attorney Vince, or find somebody else, that might be able to assist you with wise legal counsel. Because I always say, make sure your attorney, whomever that may be, they know CPS laws, that they are aggressive, and they are willing to do the work, which means fighting for your child or your children until they're back home where they belong. Those three things are essential to me. They have to be willing to be all in. The attorney as well as you. The Bible says faith without works is dead. It is. You have to also do the work. You have to also apply yourself, along with having wise legal counsel that knows CPS laws, that are aggressive and willing to be all in with you until your children are returned back home where they belong. Okay. And I know this firsthand because I've been through that. Not only did I survive CPS, I overcame CPS. And I'm here today to help you do the same thing by getting your children back home where they belong. This platform is 24/7. You can tune in at any time. Please like, please subscribe, please share. You never know what people are going through. Just because they don't speak about it doesn't mean it's not happening, because it very well may be. It's some of the people I would have never thought they were dealing with CPS until they reached out to me and say, hey, I got somebody that might need some help. CPS do not discriminate. Trust me, they don't care what color you are. They don't care where you live. They don't care what you drive. They don't care how many kids you have. None of that matter. Okay? It does not. Okay? They will come for you. And what I noticed by sitting in some of those court hearings, seemed like the majority of the people that were receiving CPS cases were minorities, minority people. I noticed a lot of minorities was in the hearings. I also noticed, because I was sitting in some of the hearings, just observing in the audience, what was being shared. As I was going through my hearing years ago, I would get there early and just listen to the other families, in these courtrooms. And that's how I was able to notice that these are minority people that are receiving these CPS cases, along with it seemed to be people that they CPS felt was uneducated and lack resources. So if they feel maybe you don't have the education, the knowledge to fight these CPS investigations, you will probably be a victim to them. Okay, they feel that you're in their, and you would probably, like I say, won't be able to fight the giant CPS, the government, against you, because they feel you lack an education, or they also feel like you lack resources where you won't have access or think enough to try to get a legal attorney that's more than capable, if that attorney has no CPS laws, if that attorney is aggressive and willing to go all in to make sure your children are returned back home. So normally, again, these are the people that I noticed that their prey. I specifically remember that my attorney, not my attorney, but the judge told the CPS attorney on one of the hearings, you're obviously dealing with a very intelligent woman. Every question that you're trying to answer, she has went around it like hopscotch. Move on. What else do you have to present in your questioning? Because she is definitely obviously not answering your questions, and therefore we're wasting time. You're not dealing with a dumb dumb. You're not dealing with an idiot. That these are her words verbatim. You're not dealing with a dumb woman. Obviously, you're dealing with an intelligent woman, and she is, not falling for your bait. So again, that is why they prefer to have someone they feel that's uneducated, that lack education and resources. And by the grace and mercy of God, I had both. Okay. That's why I say knowledge is power and transparency transforms. So again, I just advise you, one of the things you can do, like I say, the question earlier, what is the one thing you can do to help to help these children in CPS? To help you as a whole, because we're all work in progress, right? What are the one things that you're willing to commit to this weekend that can help you to be a better person? It might be reading up on stuff, reading. My grandmother is 106, who I've lost recently. She was reading even at 106. So that showed me at 106, there's still no excuse to not try to educate yourself. Okay? I'm serious. I'll walk out the room and see her reading a book, and I'll peek back in like, is she reading a book? Yes, she was. Why? Because knowledge is power. Transparency transforms. Iron sharpens irons. Okay. I asked God, what is it you want me to say to your people? And I do believe from the little girl that was um, brutally was killed due to negligence of a gun being placed in the play area. I do believe God was saying to me, what is something that we all can do so nothing like this would ever have to happen again? If you see something walking through a house that shouldn't be there, put it away. If a video game is showing more violence than it should, make that child put that away, or an adult, whomever. Whatever you can do that can make a difference in a positive way, do it for you and for your children. Because just think about it. If somebody would have saw that Mac 10 or that weapon, that deadly weapon land on a PlayStation, hopefully a parent would have saw that and immediately got rid of it and put it away. And guess what? If that would have occurred, that child would be here today. Sometimes it could be the littlest things, the simplest things that you can do that can make a world of difference in someone's life. Okay. I also want to mention that on the bottom of the screen is showing my website, daddylifeministry.com. I've been getting a lot of families, a few families I've been meeting, even as of yesterday, that they're really going through some tough seasons of life. And if we can help you, by all means, I am willing to do so. Just please submit your information to the daddylifeministry.com, the name that's listed on the screen. Like I say, if it's something within our reach, our resources, I will be more than glad to help you, because one of the stories that I heard yesterday, it was very compelling. We're in Texas and we're getting ready to, they say we're going to be having a cold front, like a winter weather storm approaching soon. And because of that, people are preparing, getting water, stocking up on food, and covering up their water pipes and things of that sort. And one of the ladies, elderly ladies, came up to me yesterday and said, I know a family that has no electricity. They're living in a home with no electricity and they don't have any help. And do you know somebody? I'm trying to figure out what to do. And they're just, like I say, you'll be surprised. Just because people are not saying something don't mean they're not going through nothing. So again, that's why I said, let me just share my contact information that's on the bottom of the screen. Like I say, if it's something within our reach, we'll be more than glad to help you if we can. Just go to daddylifeministry.com. Yes, please do. If you know someone, if not yourself, that is going through something that may need some help in some type of way. Again, that's the beauty of this platform, right? You can tune in 24/7, hopefully to get encouragement. Hopefully that attorney Vince, he is an attorney of expertise, that he can give you some knowledge, some gems, some nuggets to help you with your case. Or if you know someone that might need some information, you can listen for them, and hopefully it would enlighten them and help to turn their case around for the better so they can get their kids back home as well. That's what this is about. Like, if we're not on here to help, what's the point? Because that's the reason why I'm here, is to help, because I know it's a vicious, broken system with CPS. Not saying all caseworkers are bad, because they're not. I met some really good people, and I'm still in contact with some good people that work for CPS. Thank God. So everybody is not bad that work for CPS. I'm only speaking to the CPS workers that lack integrity and they're not really doing their due diligence and trying to help reunite these families. And they know these families may need some resources, but they are doing the work. Prayfully, they're going to make the right decision to help bridge that gap and bring those kids back home where they belong. Anybody 9 times 10 out of 10 that are good parents, that love their children and their actions show, normally those children are back, they're better off back with their families. Statistics show that. Okay. So with that being said, I just want to also let you know that I have another family that have reached out to me. And if you're looking for something that's empowering to do this weekend, or just want to, like I say, read up on some information, it is a movie that is called, I want to say the movie is called, let me make sure I'm saying it correctly. Okay. Yes, it is called We the Parents. And it's a movie that's on YouTube. And it's basically, kind of giving you some information about what it's like with children that's in systems or that's been taken away for whatever reason. I think it's like a documentary. I've looked at some of it, but it does seem like it's something that I'm going to finish watching it. But it seemed like something that can be helpful to you. If you just want something to do this weekend to kind of brush up and sharpen up on some of your skills, and you want to know what's going on in this world. What are some real things that's occurring that you want to be mindful of, regarding children and these families and their parents. It's called We the Parents, the movie, and it's on YouTube. I think it might be a great way to kind of, let you kind of chime in onto some other things that's affecting our children in our society today that a lot of people might not be aware of it. And I love to see people that step up to the mark and be willing to speak out on change that's needed for the better for all of us. Okay. For all of us, to make us be better, to grow and go together for the good for us and our children. So check it out if you want something to look into, tune into. I think it might be worth your time. But other than that, that is all that I have for today. I want to tell you to always keep God first. I can also let you know that is why I do believe that I was able to not only come out of CPS, where they were ordered to return my child back immediately years ago. I also overcame everything that they tried to do. And it was multiple of things that they tried to do. Even the CPS attorneys told me personally, verbally, in those court chambers, you overcame. She told me that. And 9 times out of 10, when somebody tell you you've overcame, that's due to something they was trying to do to make you not overcome. I have enough intelligence to realize that. I did. And I'm going to tell you why I overcame. It was because of the grace and mercy of God. Okay. That's why. I never gave up. I kept praying, I kept believing, and I kept trying. I didn't give up. And I'm telling you, it got really, really bad at times, really low. But God is faithful and He saw me through it. He gave me the strength, the knowledge, the wisdom, the discernment, and the strategy to continue to go through it. And again, I am only here because I survived it and I overcame it. And I'm here today to do whatever it takes to help you stay encouraged so you can also come out of CPS with your kids back home where they belong. Okay. So I just want to share that with you because I think it's important. That's what helped me. I stayed in prayer. I kept balance. Like I say, I did things. If it's no more than just whatever you do to help make you to bring balance to it all, because it's a lot that's going on with CPS, and I do believe the system is set up to break you. It is because there's so much they take you through. So that's why I say it's important that you take out time to better yourself, whether it's reading, being educated on these laws, on the system, watching that movie that I just mentioned called We the Parents on YouTube, whether it's, anything it takes to make you be balanced. And don't get caught up in all the chaos because they're looking at how you handle yourself, how you conduct yourself. I will be in a court hearing before the judge call our case. I will be reading my books, my church books, my spiritual books. And I saw they was looking at me like, how in the world is she able to keep her composure? And why is she not a nervous wreck? It's not that I wasn't feeling nervous. I was, but I stayed prayed up. And God will give you a peace that passes all understanding. And that's what He did for me. So I tell you, you want to get to know God if you don't know Him already, because that's what got me through winning my CPS case. And guess what? It's still getting me through years later. Okay. It never goes away. You put God first. Okay. And don't ever give up on fighting for your children. I don't care what it looks like, what it feels like, what it appeared to be. God has the final answer. Okay. So those are the things I would definitely like to share with you. I hope you have a blessed, safe weekend. Keep God first. Don't ever, 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 ever give up fighting for your kids. Please tune into this platform. It is 24/7. Please stay engaged. It's a lot of educational. The attorney Vince is sharing with you that hopefully can help you with your case, or know someone that has a CPS case. Knowledge is power. There are true stories that's on here. I have a family that wants to come on and share their stories, and I think it's going to be very inspirational and uplifting for you. So again, there are things in place to try to help you be better. Please take advantage of that. Like, share, tune in. Again, if you know someone that's going through something that may need some help at this time, please reach out to daddylifeministry.com at the bottom of the screen. If we're able, we'll be more than glad to help you, or at least direct you to someone who possibly can. As I close out my show today, and again, like I always say, keep God first, okay? Don't ever give up fighting for your children. I am your host, Latrika Jones. You are watching the Beautifully Bruised and CPS show. And as I'm going to also, before I close out the show, I'm going to bring in a segment of my grandmother, Rosie Lee Jones, who's 106, who I recently lost. And I'm telling you, that was a powerful cord that God has unconnected, like nothing I've never experienced. But again, the reason why I wrote my book, Beautifully Bruised, Crushed for Christ, is because of the wisdom and the gems that she taught me, because she raised me growing up. And I'm sharing a lot of my truth, my transparency in this book. God told me to write your story. And I am talking about what I went through with CPS. I am talking about what I had to do going through CPS and what it took to help me get through CPS. And that was through God and things that He revealed to me. So I think it's a great read. It is a true life story because I wrote the book, and I hope it bless you like it has others. So again, that's all I have for today. Have a blessed weekend. Stay safe. And remember, keep God first.